Hello and welcome to PlayStation Grenade. You've most likely clicked on this video as you're about to start Red Dead Redemption 2. Remembering the stories of Red Dead Redemption 1 and the legend of Red Harlow in Red Dead Revolver may be a little hazy. Let's break them down and get up to date with everything Red Dead related. Before the narrative begins, let's get the time frames in order first. Red Dead Revolver is set in the 1880s, with Red Dead Redemption set 20 to 30 years later in 1911. Red Dead Redemption 2 begins in 1899, so we'll break down John Marston's story before we tackle Red Harlow's journey. Right, introductions out of the way, let's do this! It's 1911, and John Marston arrives in Blackwater. An outlaw in FBI custody with a single very specific task to complete, to take down a criminal gang led by the notorious outlaw Dutch van der Linde. First question, why send an outlaw to take down an outlaw? Well, that's simple. John was a member of Dutch's gang until 1904 when he was left for dead by his brothers in arms. The FBI's bargaining chip is John's wife and son, Abigail and Jack. Preying on John's desire to live a normal, lawful life with his family, the FBI, and in particular this guy, Edgar Ross, were the puppet masters controlling John's future and his hopes for redemption for all his wrongdoings. The FBI know of 6 surviving members of the van der Linde gang, John, Abigail and Jack, who we've already accounted for, and 3 more to track down and kill, Bill Williamson, Javier Escuela, and the leader Dutch van der Linde. These are the final days of the Wild West. The Bureau are keen to take down the last remaining outlaws and let the modernization replace the cowboy lifestyle. Horses will be replaced by cars, the telephone will replace the telegram, trains will link the entire country. This is a period of change. John, driven by his desire to save his family and live that lawful life, quickly tracks down Bill Williamson.
Don't make me kill you.
Nobody needs to kill anyone, Bill.
Well. Oh. Poor John.
Well, that didn't go to plan. Right off the bat, our hero is left to die. Vultures circling. But a random act of kindness gets this story back on track.
Bonnie McFarlane. Miss Bonnie McFarlane.
Bonnie McFarlane's selfless act can't be understated. As John regains his health and well-being, he helps Bonnie out on the McFarlane ranch until he's fit enough to go after Bill once again. The next step of John's journey is to visit the sheriff over in Armadillo. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours seems to be the way of the Old West.
All right, tell you what. Let's go deal with them hoods in the saloon. Then we'll discuss Williamson.
John meets another chap, this guy.
Mr. West Dickens.
Mr. Nigel West Dickens, a snake oil con man who tricks his audience into buying items from his wagon. John even becomes a stooge in return for Nigel's help, along with this freak who seems to be Gollum from the Lord of the Rings.
Goodbye, John Marston. It's been a great pleasure.
Almost everyone John has helped up to this point team up and break into Fort Mercer. And as you've guessed it, Bill isn't there.
Bill's already run off to Mexico yesterday morning.
You'll never get him.
Javier Escuela. He's gone to see Javier Escuela.
John travels south and crosses the border into Mexico.
Welcome to Mexico, amigo!
Mexico is amidst an uprising, and revolution is in the air. On one hand, Abraham Reyes wants to take the country back from the militarized government, and the government, led by Colonel Allende, want to maintain their grip and stay in power and the luxuries associated with that. Here we find Landon Ricketts, a famous gunslinger living out his retirement in Mexico. John recognizes him from the stories he was told as a child and a young adult, and immediately trusts and idolizes Landon.
Yeah, killing men's a strange kind of fame. I was the fastest in my time, I must have been. I'm the only one left.
Landon acts like a father figure to John, keeping him aware of his actions, allowing John to be open about his past and the terrible deeds he went through during his gang days. Born in a whorehouse, orphaned at a young age, John did everything and anything to survive, including joining a notorious and deadly gang. But now, he only wants to see his family again and teach his son how to be a good man on the right side of the law. John plays a dangerous game in Mexico, joining both the rebel cause and the government's ideals, although he never really cares for the political nature of it all. He simply wants information about Javier and Bill. Morally, John doesn't really care for either side and begins to play both sides against each other, assisting the military one moment and thwarting them in the name of revolution the next. Finally, Colonel Allende hands over the information about Williamson and Escuela, and more importantly, their location. Flanked by the Mexican military, John is equipped to take down both of his gangmates. However, there's a sting in this tale. It's a bloody trap, a double cross, and John will be killed momentarily. But that's not the way this tale ends. John may not believe in the revolution, but the revolution believes in John. Reyes and the rebels arrive and stop John's execution. By the way, this is how I got my revenge. I think he's dead. With this added momentum, John finds Bill and Javier and kills or imprisons both depending on your playstyle, but there's no doubt both are killed by the FBI either way. And now, only one man stands in John's way to redemption, Dutch van der Linde. And as if by magic video game logic, he's been spotted back across the border.
We have reason to believe that Dutch van der Linde is in the area.
The city our journey began in, Blackwater, is the same place we return to for the final act of Red Dead Redemption. We'd expect Dutch to be alone as the last remaining member of the gang, but Dutch has this infectious personality and outlook on America which has brought others to his side. In the same way Dutch built his first band of outlaws with the youth of the nation who were shunned by American ideals, he's now doing the same with the Native Americans. The oppressed, the belittled, he takes the downtrodden and gives them belief in a better future, a future to fight for. The skills Dutch gives his followers shapes them as adults, and in John's case, allows him to track down, and although he obviously admires Dutch, he has no qualms in killing the man he once considered akin to a father. With funds running low, Dutch robs a bank in Blackwater.
Oh, it's nice to see you, John.
Hello, Dutch.
Have the girl, John.
Easy, Dutch.
She's a parting gift from me.
That bullet to the innocent head of a bank teller further alienates John from his mentor and shows us that Dutch, just like John, is willing to kill to reach his goals. The final battle sees Dutch and his new gang take on the combined might of the FBI, the US Army, and of course John. Dutch just didn't stand a chance, and before the end, the two share one last piece of dialogue. His chilling last message should be heeded by all.
When I'm gone, they'll just find another monster.
John's task is now over, and surprisingly, Edgar Ross keeps his word. John returns home to Abigail and Jack, and even Uncle makes an appearance. The Marstons build a strong relationship, with John attempting to make his son a better man than him, constantly pushing him away from crime, and instead focusing him on ranch work. Sitting by campfires with fellow travelers, John is now able to once again enjoy the world he lives in, keenly listening to the stories of history and legend. One story in particular stands out, the story of Red Harlow and his quest for vengeance for his father.
You heard of that Red Harlow fella? He was one of those men. Stood up to every man who blocked his path, Mexican army included. Nearly cost him his life, but he did.
Red is said to have defeated the greatest gunslinger in history, Mr. Kelly, and thus ascended into folklore. But hold that thought, we'll look at Red's history very soon. Back on the ranch, everything is falling into place. John and Abigail have left their former lives behind and work hard to prosper on the right side of the law. Jack is becoming a strong-minded young man, but nothing ends well in Red Dead Redemption. Sadly, the FBI, and once again that man Edgar Ross, aren't prepared to let John live out his days, bringing the US Army and the Bureau's best men to terminate the real last standing member of Dutch's gang. John's final hours have begun. In his last embrace with the family he fought to save, John sends Abigail and Jack away. Now it's John's last stand, a former outlaw trying to change his past.
I love you.
I love you.
Get!
John's death impacts Jack greatly. For the next 3 years, Abigail raised Jack single-handedly, but after her sudden passing, Jack must make a decision: to continue on the ranch as his parents want it, or to follow in his father's footsteps. Jack chooses revenge. He became an outlaw filled with vengeance and a single quest in life: to avenge his father's death and kill those responsible. In the final few moments of Red Dead Redemption, Jack Marston finally tracks down Edgar Ross, who has now retired, and kills the man who double-crossed his father. Jack went on to continue his father's good deeds and re-establish the Marston name in the last days of the Old West. So, we have an understanding of John's quest for redemption, and that's the end of his story, but Red Dead follows more than a single outlaw. We'll have to see what kind of man John really is in Red Dead Redemption 2. Maybe, just maybe, we'll see things differently through Arthur's eyes. But Red Dead's story of the Wild West predates Arthur and begins in the 1870s with a young boy named Red Harlow, the son of a miner, Nate, and his wife, Falling Star, a Native American. The family are poor, but that all changes in the opening scene, when Nate and his partner discover a gold mine. But Red is more interested in the pistol his father now owns.
Our troubles are finally over. We hit a vein of gold as wide as a locomotive that runs clean through Bear Mountain.
Hey, Pa, where'd you get that?
Isn't she a beaut?
Yeah. Can I hold it?
She's one of a pair, only 2 in the whole world.
Where's the other one?
My partner Griff has it. We made him up special to symbolize our newfound wealth.
Can I try it out?
One day this fine weapon will be yours. But for now, why don't you take my old pistol?
Without warning, a gang of raiders attack Red's home. He fights alongside his father until they can't fight anymore. Both his mother and father are no longer of this world. Their killer gloats until Red makes his move. Severing the killer's arm from his body, but badly burning his own hand in the process. Hiding in the brush, Red survives. Now orphaned, he was all alone. Around 12 years pass, and Red Harlow, now looking like Clint Eastwood. Why did it beep? I said Clint Eastwood. Clint. Not Clint. Stupid swearbox. Red has learned to handle a gun even with his severely burned and scarred hand, and is now ready to make his mark on the world. Whilst passing through Widow's Patch, Red notices a group of bandits have taken over the town. And to top it off, he sees this.
Damn, varmint!
Red runs riot and frees the town from this villainous group, but to collect his bounty, he must escort Sheriff O'Grady to Brimstone. Red cannot catch a break, as bandits attempt to rob the train to Brimstone. But our hero saves the passengers in style. By the way, I don't know why I choose to shoot people in the groin so much. I think I have issues. Now in Brimstone, Sheriff Bartlett convinces Red to become a bounty hunter and sends him to kill the baddest bastards in the West, including circus freaks with a fetish for dynamite. Oh, and in this mission, it's the first time we meet Jack Swift, a British bank robber and sharpshooter who escaped England to gain fame in America. Remember him for later. Red continues to take down every bounty he's handed, even killing a woman who said chivalry was dead. His final victim is Mr. Black, who has a Gatling gun inside a coffin. And look how he dies. Nicely done. So, it's now time for Red to pick up all the gold he's owed, but of course, there's an issue.
We have a small problem.
In the bank we meet Annie Stokes, who is being run out of her ranch by Governor Griffin. Red travels to Annie's ranch, which has just been attacked by Griffin's men. In return for a little information, Red tells Annie about a Battle Royale tournament coming up, and the 5,000 gold coin winnings will help Annie keep her farm.
5,000 pieces in gold. This'll help me keep my ranch.
And by Battle Royale, I don't mean Fortnite, I mean a real duel. Guns in holsters, quick draw, aim, that kind of thing. Back in Brimstone, Red is involved in a bar fight after overhearing a story of a man with one arm. Yeah, you remember him. He's called Colonel Darren, by the way. By the end of the bar fight, Red is arrested by the sheriff, who looks damn scared of him.
I said hand it over.
During his time in prison, the sheriff reveals some history to Red. Nate, his father, had a partner called Griff, who made a deal with a military leader called Diego to save his own skin, but ultimately sentenced Nate to death.
I only own half the claim. My partner Nate owns the other half. And what if I kill your partner? Then that would make us partners. Partner.
Sheriff Bartlett releases Red, who immediately tracks down Diego and his train of murder. Red absolutely wrecks everyone until he's taken down by that one-armed man again. They spare him for some ridiculous reason, and once again, he's locked in prison. Remember earlier when we said that Red's mother was Native American? Well, luckily for her, Red has a cousin called Shadow Wolf, who watched his assault and sets out to save him. Meanwhile, in prison, Red meets Buffalo Soldier, a former slave, who joins in the cause. Buffalo Soldier makes it back to Brimstone to inform the governor, who places him in yet another prison cell. That's 4 now? Is it 4? I think we're up to 4 prison cells. Back over to Red and Shadow Wolf. The one-armed man from Red's childhood stands in their way, but the duo prevail and have revenge for Red's father. But at what cost?
That's Diego's war train. Go, cousin. Finish what you have started.
In a touching moment, Red embeds Wolf's knife into Colonel Darren's chest to give him the credit for the kill.
Our people now shall know of your courage, cousin.
Red is now in full rage mode and takes down Diego's war train, and another part of his revenge plan is complete. Diego attempts to bargain the same way Nate's partner Griff did 12 years earlier. But Red, he's not driven by wealth and greed. It doesn't interest him.
What do you say, partner?
Back in Brimstone, the Battle Royale is about to begin, and Red can't turn down the challenge from Mr. Kelly.
I would very much look forward to beating an adversary of your talent.
The Battle Royale begins, and our heroes Red, Jack, and Annie progress unscathed. Red even takes down a character based on Billy the Kid. The final 4 combatants in the Battle Royale are confirmed. The aforementioned Red, Jack, Annie, and the current champion, Mr. Kelly. Red and Kelly meet in the first semi-final, however you'd like to say it is fine.
Red! Due to the sudden absence of Sheriff Bartlett, I'm going to be stepping in to oversee this conclusion to the Battle Royale. Now, whereas the 2 gentlemen before us are clearly the best, I believe a change of the rules is in order. I hereby disqualify Jack Swift and Annie Stokes. The winner of this here round is going to be the winner of the Battle Royale.
The semi-final just became the final. The second Red wins, Governor Griffin turns on Red, and suddenly everything falls into place.
Well, Red, you're good. I'll give you that. But of course you'd have to be to live through what you did. Still, I'm afraid that we're gonna have to end right here and now what we should have ended so many years ago.
Isn't she a beaut?
Yeah! Can I hold it?
She's one of a pair, only 2 in the whole world.
Where's the other one? The other one.
Before Red can pursue the governor, Mr. Kelly arises to fight to the death. Red wins, because of course he does, and now it's time for the final face-off with Governor Griffin.
Tell me where to find him.
His mansion, but it's secured like a fortress. It'll be hard even for a bounty hunter like you.
He will not be alone.
He ain't the only one who wants the governor. I reckon that their prize money is in that mansion of his.
Our 3 heroes battle past hundreds of henchmen, release Buffalo Soldier from his prison cell, and finally, Red and Buffalo track down the governor, who outsmarts the duo, leaving Buffalo pinned to the ground. No one's lifting that. That man is a dead man. And now, the final face-off, Red versus the governor. The end is here. Oh, sorry, of course, the big bad guy needs a monologue first.
I always regretted what happened back on your daddy's farm, Red. I should have been there to make sure you joined them. But lucky for me, I get a second chance.
Okay, so that was really anticlimactic, but the deed is now done.
Never did like him much.
Red must run, become an outlaw to survive. He killed the governor and will be hanged for certain. Oh look, Buffalo Soldier is still alive. Damn it, how strong is Annie? Oh well, video games? The sheriff gives the 5,000 in gold to Red, who turns it down, only claiming the revolver from his dead enemy. His final words are a lesson to us all.
Give it to them. It never was about the money.
It was never about the money. Red Harlow was never seen again. The man became a legend, and his stories filled the final days of the Wild West. Will he reappear in Red Dead Redemption 2? Will Jack Swift be the reason John Marston called his son Jack? So many questions, but now we have a beginning to the Red Dead story, and we have a heart-crushing ending. Now let's learn what happened in between. I hope you all enjoy Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm Adam from PlayStation Grenade. It's been a pleasure. See you next time.